Hello, you wonderful people. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about why your Instagram content may not be getting the likes, the comments, the saves, the shares, the sales, the overall engagement, views, and reach that you feel that it should. And we have these conversations often, especially in our consultations. And usually when we're looking at what the issues are when it comes to growth and engagement, 90% of the time, it ties back to the quality of the content.
Yes.
Because how people receive and interact with your content specifically dictates how the algorithm decides to serve that content. And it's really important to note, there is no amount of ad spend, there is no amount of growth hacks that can outwork or save bad content, bad content. And often we just hear the term bad content and nobody really breaks it down to you as to what that might be. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let's get into it.
First up, your content doesn't serve your audience, it serves you. The idea is that if you are asking for someone's time and attention in exchange for looking at your content, you're gonna need to provide some sort of value to make people actually want to spend their time looking at your content. So what we recommend is that when you're creating your content, you filter it through one of the following categories or themes, which will help you put together content that actually can drive results. So your content should do any of the following. Engage. This encourages conversations and interactions from your audience, which therefore drives comments. Or educate. It provides valuable information, establishing your brand as an authority, which drives saves and shares. Celebrate. Showcase your clients, audience, or customers to build community and trust, which therefore drives comments, shares, and follows. Or inspire, when you share motivational content which connects on a deeper level with your audience, which drives shares. Or connect. This offers a look into your lifestyle, behind the scenes, or personal stories, humanizing your brand, which of course drives comments. Or promote. This drives sales and highlights your products or services and how they better the lives of your audience, which leads to sales and downloads. Creators often get caught up in the old, I do my content this way and that's how it is. And that's fine if it's actually generating engagement. But if it's not, you really need to take a hard look at your content and see how you can improve it. And this includes always testing. I feel like that's something we say here all the time, always be testing. So I follow different types of accounts that I've noticed that have blown up off one type of content and then they've had to go and change it. Now, this could be for multiple reasons. Maybe it's not performing. Maybe the algorithm is not serving it anymore. They're getting less comments, whatever it might be. Or even that the creator is kind of just bored of it and they want to switch it up. But either way, I've noticed a lot of accounts are actually doing that and changing up their content. And I would say, if I really wanted to guess, I would say it's probably that particular content that they're known for isn't performing anymore, and then they've had to go and change tactics.
Yeah, and another thing I also want to bring up is that sometimes I do see out there advice is given, which is like create content for yourself. And that's fine if you want to create content for yourself, but then you will have to detach yourself from any of the metrics and expectations around that content. Because if you're creating for yourself and not somebody else, then why do they need to watch what you're creating?
Exactly.
And if they do, that's of their own accord. But in the end, you can't expect something when you're not offering something in return. Another thing that is hurting the content that you create is not planning ahead. Now, if you are not planned ahead, that means you are going to potentially miss out on key moments and key opportunities to interact with your audience. What happens when you're not planned ahead is that all of a sudden you need to rush in order to create a content because you find out it's International Coffee Day and you're a cafe and you have nothing planned. And when you rush that content, you end up, creating mediocre content, which ends up not performing well, which of course then hurts your overall content performance across your account. It is so important that you be intentional with the content you created, especially even when you're thinking about what Craig was mentioning in terms of that framework to filter your content through. That's to ensure that you're being intentional about the content that you create and that it serves a real purpose and you're not just posting to post. So we definitely encourage you to get off that hamster wheel where you feel like in the end the time is passing by and you're never prepared and you can't batch content and you can't get out there and you're always chasing your social media presence. By just planning ahead, even if that means that you need to take a break for 2 weeks to get yourself ahead, or a month to get yourself ahead, it would be better that you put out content that resonates and that will actually connect with your audience rather than just putting whatever you can quickly make in front of them. We always in our agency make sure that ourselves and our clients are always planned a year out in terms of high level topics and moments that we'll want to cover. And then at the month level, we always make sure that we have our posts set up a month in advance. So that way we know everything that we need to create content for, and we know by what time we need to make sure that content is created by. Now, the content planner and tracker that we use for ourselves and for our clients is available in our digital shop. So if you ever find that you are struggling, that is one of our top sellers, and we know why. That's why people are picking up the most. The second one is actually the 30 days of Instagram stories, which also has to do with planning as well.
It's true.
And that's why we created a bundle. So if you go on our site, we'll leave it in the description box below, you'll see that we've created a bundle there that has our content planner and tracker for the entire year. So you're able to look at everything at a glance, or at least by a bi-weekly or weekly, monthly preferred, but you can look at things at least at a glance and plan ahead, so you don't have to be concerned about what you're posting, and you can easily schedule out your content. And in that bundle, because we saw the Instagram stories planner was so popular, we ended up putting the content planner and tracker in that, the Instagram stories, and our captions that converts guide. So we created a guide that has a ton of templates. We're going to talk more about captions in a second, but it has 10 templates and 10 examples for exactly how you can write out your captions across various industries. And also, as a bonus, we also added in our quarterly planner. So that means every quarter we go and we look at these moments and we put in post ideas. So, for example, if Women's History Month is coming up and you don't know what to post about, you'll have ideas in there that'll help you out and give you a few prompts. And we also included 30 more bonus content ideas. We're really just trying to get you guys to post and have the content that you need to post. So there's 30 plus more content ideas. All the details will be in the description box. But if you're ever struggling with getting organized and getting content out and just creating content that performs, highly recommend that you go and check that out, because there may be a resource in there for you. Overall, the point of planning ahead and making sure that you're on top of your content is to ensure that you're able to share intentional posts that get people to do in action. And it's just not going to happen unless it's off a whim or a fluke, if you're just randomly putting things out there.
Another reason why your content might not be performing is that your visuals are poorly optimized or aesthetically of a lower quality. So I'm going to go through a bunch of different reasons why technically, from the actual position of your equipment, your actual content is not where it needs to be. So starting with a poor narrative. So whilst the narrative is often within the caption itself, it really is, it starts with the visual. Particularly here, I'm talking about the editing. So editing the reels in a fashion that makes sense, that is a start, middle, and end that people can follow and that continues to remain engaging the whole way through. And same goes for carousels as well. If the carousel you're flicking through and it doesn't really make any sense, you can't really follow it, that's a problem, and we do see that quite a lot. Another thing is the editing. So that would come into the narrative, but also the small things like cutting out the dead air between sentences. Sometimes cutting out breathing can help. Jump cuts are really great. So that is making sure that it's just super quick and sharp and just really getting to the point. We've said this before, but someone commented on the channel once that they graduated college by the time we started the real point of the video. We took that to heart, and now I feel like our videos have been performing better. So, shouts to you. The photos or videos themselves aren't of high quality. So that means the pixels, the actual resolution of the photos isn't high. So that is a big one we see. And sometimes I don't know how people get something so low, but I feel like it's just maybe the way that it was processed, something like that, or it was an older device. But either way, if you can change the settings on your device to be as high a resolution as possible, whether it's a phone or a DSLR camera, that would do you a lot of favors.
And I have a hack for this too.
Break it down.
In the Canva video that we filmed, we'll leave it up here and in the description box below, there is a feature where if you have something that's like an older photo or blurrier photo or image, you can, it's a trick that allows you to enhance it using AI. So we'll leave that in the description box below. It was like hack 5 of that video. So just wanted to put that out there.
Great call out. Poorly shot or poorly framed content is something you're going to want to avoid. If you use something like the rule of thirds, which you can look that up, it's super helpful. That will help you just frame the shot better and make sure that it's looking as good as it possibly can. You know, there's nothing worse than some sort of weird angle or from above or looking up at something that just doesn't really make sense or wasn't the intention. So the way that the content is shot is super, super key. No captions is something that we see quite a lot, and that is something that is more and more common. I believe it was something like 70% to 80% of Instagram users, or even like online period, watch with the sound off, and that's me for sure. So using captions is super key. We use a platform called Submagic, and we have a link in the description that gets you a bit of a discount there. They are phenomenal. It's a web browser based app, and you're able to just upload your piece of content and caption it super easy. The AI that actually produces the transcript is like probably 90-95% accurate. I love that part of it as well. And you can add emojis, make it super fun. Very, very cool. Audio is another thing, and I feel like audio is more trouble or more hassle or more work than even the video side of things. Audio is definitely very difficult. If you're able to invest in some sort of microphone, that would be helpful. There are a bunch of really cool ones that can just plug into the bottom of a phone now, even if you're using phones. Obviously, we didn't always have these microphones. We upgraded recently, and it changed the game. So audio is something you always want to make sure that is as good as it could possibly be. The size of your posts are super key. So, you know, if it's a reel, it needs to be 9x16, you know, square 1x1, or 4x5 if it's just any other type of post. Tiff actually did a video in Canva explaining how you can resize your images right here. So you can check that out just to make sure that you're producing images in the right size for every platform that you're posting it on. And this goes for more than just Instagram. Every platform has their own size specifications. A lot of them work on multiple platforms, but just really make sure you're giving the platform exactly what it's asking for. And if it's helpful for anybody, we actually do content reviews on our YouTube membership channel. We go live every other Wednesday, and we review whether it's Instagram profiles, YouTube accounts, specific pieces of content, social strategy guides, everything that you want to get feedback on. That's what we do. So you can join that. Link in the description. We've made it super affordable. So in this economy, everybody can get access to that.
Another thing that might be hurting the performance of your Instagram content is that you are not optimizing your content and captions for conversions. Now, when we say conversions, that is any action that you want another person to take. So that could be a sale. That's a conversion we're mostly familiar with. But that also means a follow or any other form of engagement. Like you could be optimizing your post for saves. And so it's super important that you create content with what conversion you want in mind, and captions are a really powerful tool for this. They are still, from the beginning of Instagram to today, one of the best ways to persuade your audience to do something that you want. And what we recommend is that you seize the opportunity and do not slack off in this space. Okay, so no vague captions because it's mysterious and it's cool, or no like overly long things, because again, we talked about time. We all only have 24 hours in a day. You got to respect people's time, and unless you're giving something that's really true, rich storytelling in a caption, you want to keep it a little bit brief. What we recommend is that you can follow our 3-part framework for compelling captions. So anyone who has downloaded our Instagram captions guide, which is in the bundle I mentioned earlier, but we'll also link it separately in the description box below. In that guide, we talk about our 3-part framework for a compelling caption. Now, this framework will help you better structure out your captions to make sure that you have the most impact. So the first thing is the hook. So you want an attention-grabbing start that immediately makes someone stop in their scroll. Then second, you move down to your story or description. This is the engaging section that builds interest and then will offer value. And then third is very important, and that is the call to action. That should be a clear directive that drives the audience to take a specific step. It is such a missed opportunity if you don't leverage your captions to tell people what to do next. People love instruction. They love to know what you want them to do. And with everything in life, you do not get what you do not ask for. So you gotta shoot your shot in your captions, and you gotta make sure that you are leveraging the captions in order to engage your audience and direct them to do a specific action, which will help you in the algorithm. Again, if you check that out, we have the templates, and we also put in a ton of call to actions and hooks as like a bank that you can steal from to make writing captions even easier. And then when we talk about content, this is another opportunity for you to place in those hooks and calls to action as well. And you can do that, say, in a carousel, either in the middle of your carousel or at the end of the carousel. You can decide to put in a call to action there, but you need to have one. And then on your reels, you can do that with text overlay or in stories as well. Especially helps when not everyone listens to the audio, like we were saying earlier. So you want to make sure that that caption or that overlay is available for them. All right, that is it for today. Those are the most common reasons we see Instagram content underperform, and we wanted to make sure that we could share those notes with you so that you can take an honest reflection on your content as well and stop or mitigate any of these things before you actually publish. Thank you so much for coming back to watch another video. Everything we talked about will be linked in the description box below. In the meantime, we think you should check out this video next. It'll be super helpful for you. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Peace.